meeting to order. Just before we get started this evening, I'm just going to go over the meeting rules that we'll be following this evening. Tonight we have 5 applications for 4 different properties that we'll be hearing. And basically the order of proceedings tonight, I'll be asking for any conflicts of interest from any committee members with regards to applications that are on the agenda this evening. Following that, I will ask for if there's been any requests for deferrals or withdrawals of applications on the agenda from staff. As I bring in, since this is a virtual meeting, as I bring in each applicant, I will just reiterate with them when they start, just to make sure that they don't wish to withdraw or defer any applications. Following that, the committee's secretary treasurer will read out each application on the agenda one at a time, provide a brief description and staff recommendation, address any additional correspondence that they received. Following that, the applicant or the agent for the applicant will be brought into the meeting. Again, I'll confirm that they want to proceed. They'll have an opportunity to introduce themselves and provide any additional information that they wish to have or add at that time. Members of the committee will then have the opportunity to ask the applicant any questions that they may have, followed by members of the public who wish to speak to a particular application. To my knowledge, as of the start of this meeting, there have been no requests from the public to speak to an application. And we'll just confirm that.
Yeah, that is correct.
Thank you. And that if there was, then we would bring them in at that time to present their comments. Following the presentations of any other those comments, committee members will have an opportunity to ask any further questions they have, followed by the applicant or the agent for the applicant if they wish to add any closing comments. The committee will then present a decision in the form of a motion. The motion will be discussed and voted upon. If a vote is tied, a motion will be defeated and a new motion will be made until we have a decision. I would advise that notices of decision will only be provided to those persons who leave their name and address with the secretary treasurer in the planning division department. They can contact, I'm going to say Chris Rome on this one. I know we have Samantha coming on board, so in the next meeting I will get this changed, but you can either email Chris Rome at chris.rome, R-O-O-M-E @portcolborne.ca, or leave a voice message at 905-835-2900, extension 205, immediately following the meeting or very first thing tomorrow morning. In order to be kept advised of any possible land planning tribunal hearings, you must request to be sent a copy of the committee's decision. So with that, I will ask our newest secretary treasurer to, let me ask if there's any conflicts of interest this evening, if anyone wishes to declare those. Not seeing any, and I don't believe there's any deferrals of withdrawals that have been declared so far. And I'm not hearing any. So with that, I will ask our new secretary treasurer to read on the first application, please.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. So the first application for tonight is application number A07-22-PC in the matter of the Planning Act RSO 1990 CP 13 as amended and section 2.8.2A of the City of Port Colborne zoning bylaw 65753018 as amended, and in the matter of the lands legally known as Lot 64 on Plan 29 in the City of Port Colborne, Regional Municipality of Niagara, located in the second density residential zone, municipally known as 73 Christmas Street, and in the matter of an application by the owner James Joseph Jennings II for relief from the provisions of the zoning bylaw 65753018 as amended under Section 45 of the Planning Act RSO 1990 CP 13 so as to permit a proposed accessory notwithstanding the following. 1, that 14.5% accessory lot coverage be provided, whereas 10% of the lot area is permitted. Planning staff has reviewed the referenced application and offered the following comments. Notice was circulated to the public and the required agencies on March 28th, 2022. And as of today, the following has been received. The fire department, no objection to the application. Given the information in the planning staff report, planning staff recommend application A07-22-PC be granted for the following reasons. 1, minor in nature, as the increase in accessory lot coverage will not be negatively impact the subject parcel. 2, appropriate for development of the site, as the parcel is large enough to accommodate an increase in accessory lot coverage. 3, desirable and in compliance with the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw, as accessory structures are permitted in the R2 zone and the majority of the requirements of the bylaw has been satisfied. And 4, desirable and in compliance with the general intent and purpose of the official plan, as accessory structures are permitted in the urban residential designation. And that concludes the correspondence of this application.
Thank you. If we can bring in the applicant or the agent for the applicant.
Hello.
There we go.
Sorry.
Welcome. Just before you get started, you don't wish to defer or withdraw your application?
No, sir.
Very good. Is there anything further you'd like to add at this time?
No, sir.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions of the applicant this evening? Donna?
Through you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Jennings, can I just ask you, I was there a week or so ago, and it says on what we've been given, the old garage was removed. I think it's still there at present? Okay, it is going to be removed before the building starts? Okay, great. That's all I wondered about.
I just got the demolition permit today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Eric?
Through you, Mr. Chair. Sorry, my dog just came into the screen. It says in the application that you are requiring the variance because you need to fit a truck and personal belongings in the application. How big is your truck? Or what kind of truck are you storing?
I'm not storing a truck, no.
It says in the application on 11, it says need square footage to fit personal belongings and truck. And it says bracket storage.
Well, it's going to be my race car shop.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Any other questions? Donna?
Sorry, I just want to clarify. So is it going to be a commercial garage? If it's a race car, just your personal? Thank you.
Thank you. No other questions. And I don't believe there's any other public comments with regards to this application. I do know that I believe, sorry, just bear with me here a second. The no, never mind. I was mixing up applications as to which one was which, but I'm good. Because we had 2 applications for garages this evening. So I'm good. I don't have anything further. If no one else has anything further, does anyone have a recommendation? Nobody? Eric?
I'll put it forward. I just have to pull it up. This is application A08-22-PC, correct?
07.
This is 07. Okay, in application A07-22-PC, the lands legally known as Lot 64 on Plan 29, municipally known as 73 Christmas Street. That minor variance application A07-22-PC be granted for the following reasons. One, it's minor in nature, as the increase in accessory lot coverage will not negatively impact the subject parcel. Two, appropriate for the development of the site, as the parcel is large enough to accommodate an increase in accessory lot coverage. Three, desirable and in compliance with the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw, as accessory structures are permitted in the R2 zone and the majority of the requirements of the bylaw have been satisfied. Four, desirable and in compliance with the general intent and purpose of the official plan, as accessory structures are permitted in the urban residential designation.
Thank you. Can I get a seconder to that? Gary. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? That'll be carried. Thank you. There is a 20-day waiting period, but other than that, you should be good to go.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. And Madam Secretary, whenever you're ready for the next application.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. The next application for tonight is application A08 22PC in the matter of the Planning Act RSO 1990 CP 13 as amended and section 2.8.12 of the City of Port Colborne zoning bylaw 6575/3018 as amended. And in the matter of the lands legally known as Concession 1 Part Lot 21 in the City of Port Colborne, Regional Municipality of Niagara, located in the Lakeshore Residential Zone, municipally known as 891 Lakeshore Road East. And in the matter of an application by the owners Joanne Dasgupta and Stephen White for relief from the provisions of zoning bylaw 6575/3018 as amended under section 45 of the Planning Act RSO 1990 CP 13 so as to permit the construction of an accessory structure notwithstanding the following. One, that a maximum height of 7.2 meters be provided, whereas the maximum height permitted is 6 meters. The planning staff has reviewed the referenced application and offer the following comments. So the notice was circulated to the public and required agencies on March 28th, 2002. As of today, no comments from the public has been received. The fire department has no objection. The Niagara Region staff do not object to the proposed minor variance application in principle, as the development is consistent with the PPS and conforms to provincial and regional policies. Local staff should be satisfied that the application meets any applicable local requirements and provisions. The MPCA staff recommend that the applicant erect a slit fence adjacent to the watercourse buffer as outlined in the drawing provided to prevent sediment and construction debris from entering the watercourse during construction and grading. Aside from that, MPCA staff has no objections to the application. Given the information in the planning staff report, planning staff recommend application A08-22-PC be granted for the following reasons. One, minor in nature, as the increase in height will not negatively impact the subject parcel or surrounding area. Two, appropriate for development of the site, as the proposal is located in a suitable location on the site and will not have any impact on the existing septic system. Three, desirable and in compliance with the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw, as accessory structures are permitted in the LR zone and the majority of the requirements of the bylaw has been satisfied. And four, desirable and in compliance with the general intent and purpose of the official plan, as accessory structures are permitted in the rural designation. And that concludes the correspondence of this application.
Thank you. If you can bring in the applicant this evening.
I think I got it right.
You did.
Okay.
Just before you get started, you don't wish to defer or withdraw your application?
No, not at this time.
Very good. Is there anything further you'd like to add at this time?
No, I think you guys nailed it.
Very good. Is there any questions of the applicant this evening? Not seeing any. Oh, Donna.
I just wanted to say it was a beautiful property. I was a little nervous when I drove in because I thought, oh, I hope you don't think that we're in here spying on you. But to see what it was, I had to come right in and drive around. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's my wife and I's retirement home, so
Beautiful.
thank you.
Thank you. And again, there is no request for anyone to speak to this application. So with that, if there's no other comments, if someone has a recommendation. Donna?
In regard to application A0822PC of the lands legally known as Concession 1, Part Lot 21, in the municipally known as 891 Lakeshore Road East, the minor variance application A0822PC be granted for the following reasons. It's minor in nature, as the increase in height will not negatively impact the subject parcel or the surrounding area. It's appropriate for development of the site as the proposal is located in a suitable location on the site and will not have any impact on the existing septic system. Number 3, it's desirable and in compliance with the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw, as accessory structures are permitted in the LR zone and the majority of the requirements of the bylaw have been satisfied. Number 4, it's desirable and in compliance with the general intent and purpose of the official plan, as accessory structures are permitted in the rural designation.
Thank you. Seconder to that? Angie? Any questions or comments with regards to the motion? Not seeing any. All those in favor? That'll be carried. Thank you.
You're right, Donna. It was a great house. I just wouldn't want it the drains overflow there.
Come close a couple of times.
How's it?
Yeah.
I'll bet. Yeah.
But the guys from the city, I don't know, this gentleman, Mike, that digs the drain out does an excellent job all the time. So
Yeah, they do.
I'm very happy with the services that they provide.
Great to hear.
Very good. Thank you. There is a 20-day waiting period, but following that, you should be good to go.
Okay, that's great. Thank you for your help tonight.
Thank
Bye
you.
now.
And Madam Secretary, whenever you're ready for the next application, please.
Okay, thank you. So the next application we have B0722 PC and A05 22 PC. So to start off, in the matter of the Planning Act RSO 1990, CP 13, Section 53(1), and in the matter of the lands legally known as lots 4, 5, and 6 on Plan 987 and 988, 989 in the City of Port Colborne, Regional Municipality of Niagara, located in the 4th Density Residential Zone, municipally known as 8 Catherine Street. And in the matter of an application by the owners Ashley Miatello and Glenn Scrubotran for a lot boundary adjustment under Section 53(1) of the Planning Act RSO 1990 CP 13, so as to permit the conveyance of Part 2 having a lot area of 790 meters squared for a proposed lot addition to the abutting Part 3, and Part 1 will retain a lot frontage of 26.35 meters and a lot area of 672 meters squared. And also in the matter of an application by the same owners for relief from the provisions of zoning bylaw 65, 75, 30, 18 as amended under Section 45 of the Planning Act RSO 1990 CP 13, so as to permit reduced setbacks to the existing detached dwellings as a result of a concurrent severance. notwithstanding the following. 1, that a rear yard setback of 1.9 meters be permitted, whereas 6 meters is required in the R4 zone. Planning staff has reviewed the reference applications and offer the following comments. Notice was circulated to the public and required agencies on March 28th, 2022. Please note public comments have been summarized. And as of today, the following has been received. And please note public comments have been summarized for the purpose of this meeting. A full copy of comments had been sent to the committee and the applicant. If any member of the public wishes to view them, they can contact the planning department at City Hall. Bonnie Hetherington from 86 Sugarloaf Street. She supports the proposed applications, wants to see the property preserved, and agrees with the applicant's intent to do so, stated the environmental significance of the subject parcel, and emphasized the importance of maintaining its status. From the agency, the fire department, no objection to proposed application. Given the information from the planning report, planning staff recommend application A05-22-PC be granted for the following reasons. 1, minor in nature, as the requested variance is considered a reasonable and measured request. 2, appropriate for development of the site, as the location of the proposed lot lines will allow for the retention of the staircase on parts 2 and 3, and there is no proposed development of any of the on any of the subject parcels. 3, desirable and in compliance with the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw, as the majority of the bylaw requirements have been met. 4, desirable and in compliance with the general intent and purpose of the official plan, as residential uses are permitted in the urban residential designation and the requirements of the official plan have been met. And that consent application B07-22-PC be granted subject to the following conditions. 1, that the applicant provides the Secretary Treasurer with the deeds in triplicate for conveyance of the subject parcel or registrable legal description of the subject parcel, together with a paper copy and electronic copy of the deposited reference plan, if applicable, for use in the insurance of the certificate of consent. And 2, that a final certificate fee of $218 payable to the City of Port Colborne be submitted to the Secretary Treasurer. 3, that Part 2 and Part 3 be merged on title. 4, that minor variance application A05-22PC be approved. And for the following reasons: 1, the application conforms to provincial policy statement, the policies of the regional official plan, City of Port Colborne official plan, and will also comply with the provisions of zoning bylaw 65, 75, 30, 18 as amended. 2, this decision is rendered having regard to the provisions of subsection 5124 of the Planning Act RSO 1990 CP 13, and that concludes the correspondence of this application.
Thank you. And if we can bring in the applicant for this application, please.
Hi, everyone.
Good evening. Just before you get started, you don't wish to defer or withdraw your application this evening?
No, we do not.
Very good. Is there anything further you'd like to add at this time?
I don't think there's anything that I would like to add further at this point in time.
Thank you. Is there any questions of the applicant this evening of members? Not seeing any. Oh, Eric.
Mr. Chair, it's not a question to the applicant, but it's more of a question to our planner. Is it Chris or David in? I can't see.
It's Chris today.
Okay, hi Chris. Looking at the sketch, I don't see that there's any dwellings on part 3. Is that the case?
Through you, Mr. Chair, to Council or Member Beauregard. That is the case. There is a property, or there is a dwelling on Part 3 there. It is a heritage property. It's not indicated on the sketch, but it's also not really a part of this severance, if I could say that. So, yeah.
Okay. I guess it would have been nice to see it on the sketch. But another question though, if part 1 merges with part 3, those cottages, do they become accessory structures to the primary dwelling?
Through
Eric,
you,
sorry, Eric, I believe it's part 2 is going to merge with part 3.
Oh, okay. Did I see that wrong? Part 1 and 2 replace part 2 to be set with part 1. Okay, that's correct. All right, then never mind my questions. All good.
If it would help you, Eric, I can share my screen and show you a picture of the actual topographical that's going to show the heritage home that the land's going to be attached to.
Sure, I'm open to seeing it.
I would have to have that enabled if that's possible. Thank you. All right, so you should be seeing a couple documents up here, right? And so I would look to the middle of the screen that has the red line with the stairs and mosaic. That's the reason for the variance, and all of that property on the back will be attached up into the historic home, the Wildwood estate that's to the north. And then the 3 cottages will remain separate. Does that help you, Eric, in terms of the visual? I also included the environmental overlay there as well, just in case you wanted to see that, and pictures of the stairs and the mosaic in case you wanted to see that too.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair, to I suppose the applicant. The severed sketch shows that parts 1 and 2 were previously severed in what looks like it was 2018. So they merged back into title, like merged together at a later point or something?
So both properties are separate title. So I guess again, I would I'll go back to my share screen.
Yeah, it says on the sketch.
So if you look at the top left where it shows the Niagara Navigator, you're going to see 8 and 14. 8 has the 3 cottages and 14 is the historical home. They are completely separated properties. We own 8 Catherine Street through corporation, and we own 14 Catherine through ourselves personally. And what we're looking to do is take the westernmost portion of 8 Catherine and attach it into 14 and bring that back into the historically designated house and leave the cottages separately deeded.
Okay, I understand that. And I'm looking at Niagara Navigator as we speak as well. I guess I just wanted some more clarity on the set. Maybe the severed sketch could be wrong. It just says in the note that parts 1 and 2 were previously severed by application B09-18-PC. Maybe parts 1 and maybe meant parts 2 and 3. I don't know. Maybe the planner, maybe Chris, can you provide clarity on that?
Hi, Eric. This is David here. 14 used to actually be separate, or sorry, one parcel with the 3 cottages at 8. So the lot line between the 2 was what was done in 2018. So that was the original consent that was applied for, to separate the 3 cottages from the heritage home. And then now this is the new lot line that they're proposing to add some of that back to the heritage property.
Okay. Thank you, David. I have no further questions.
Thank you. Does anyone else have any questions? Not seeing. Oh, Gary.
Not really a question, but great job you're doing with that. I slid by a second time to see the mosaic. So Glenn Ashley, it's in good hands. Thank you for preserving that site. It's great. That's all I had, Mr. Chair.
Thanks, Gary.
Anyone else? Questions, comments? I know there's no public feedback other than what's already been presented in the staff report. So with that, does someone have a recommendation? Angie?
Thank you. Application A0522 PC. The lands legally known as lots 4 to 6 on plan 987 to 989, municipally known as 8 Catherine Street. That the minor variance application A0522-PC be granted for the following reasons. 1, minor in nature as the requested variance is considered a reasonable and measured request. 2, appropriate for the development of the site as the location of the proposed lot lines will allow for the retention of the staircase on parts 2 and 3, and there is no proposed development on any of the subject parcels. 3, desirable and in compliance with the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw as the majority of the bylaw requirements have been met. And 4, desirable and in compliance with the general intent and purpose of the official plan as the residential uses are permitted in the urban residential designation and the requirements of the official plan have been met.
Very good. Seconder to that? Gary? Questions or comments? All those in favor? That'll be carried. And a recommendation for the severance, B07. Gary?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. With respect to application B0722-PC, the matter of the lands legally known as lots 4, 5, and 6 on plan 987, 988, and 989, municipally known as 8 Catherine Street. The consent application B0622-PC be granted subject to the conditions outlined in the staff report dated April 8, 2022 for the following reasons. The application conforms to provincial policy statement, the policies of the regional official plan, City of Port Colborne official plan, and will also comply with the provisions of zoning bylaw 6575-30-18 as amended. And 2, this decision is rendered having regard to the provisions of subsection 5124 of the Planning Act RSO 1990 CP 13.
Thank you. Can I get a seconder to that? Eric, any questions or comments? Not seeing any. All those in favor? That'll be carried. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. If I may ask one more question, just a name for the secretary treasurer that the deeds in triplicate that would be going to.
Yes, Samantha, I believe that's you now, right?
Through you, Mr. Chair, yes, it would be through me. Samantha Young.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Samantha.
Thank you.
Very good. Have a good evening.
Have a good evening, everyone.
And Madam Secretary, the last application whenever you're ready.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. The last application we have tonight is application number A06-22PC in the matter of the Planning Act RSO 1990 CP 13 as amended and section 2.8.2A of the City of Port Colborne, zoning bylaw 6575-30-18 as amended. And in the matter of the lands legally known as Lot 5 on Plan 60 in the City of Port Colborne, Regional Municipality of Niagara, located in the first density residential zone, municipally known as 192 Queen Street. And in the matter of an application by the owner, Tricia Ponente, for relief from the provisions of the zoning bylaw 6575-30-18 as amended under section 45 of the Planning Act RSO 1990 CP 13, so as to permit a proposed garage with a lot area of 725.57 meters squared for the storage in the rear yard, notwithstanding the following. 1, that 17% accessory lot coverage be permitted, whereas 10% of the lot area is required. Planning staff has reviewed the reference application and offer the following comments. Notice was circulated to the public and required agencies on March 28th, 2022. As of today, the following has been received. Please note public comments have been summarized for the purpose of this meeting. A full copy of the comments have been sent out to the committee and applicant. If a member of the public would like to view them, they can contact the planning department. So we received comments from Pauline Thiviege from 199 Oakwood Street. So she objects to the proposed application, has concerns with the size of the proposed accessory structure, has concerns with the height of the structure and the impact of the structure's shadow casting onto her property. Stated the proposed garage would be larger than the dwelling located on the property. Comments from agencies, the fire department, no objection. Given the information from the planning report, planning staff recommend application A0622 PC be granted for the following reasons. One, minor in nature, as the increase in accessory lot coverage will not negatively impact the subject parcel. Two, appropriate for development of the site, as the parcel is large enough to accommodate an increase in accessory lot coverage. 3, desirable and in compliance with the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw, as accessory structures are permitted in the R1 zone and the majority of the requirements of the bylaw have been satisfied. And 4, desirable and in compliance with the general intent and purpose of the official plan, as accessory structures are permitted in the urban residential designation. And this concludes the correspondence of this application.
Thank you. Can we bring in the applicant this evening?
Hi.
Good evening. I can hear you, but we just can't see you if you have a camera on your computer.
Yep, it was.
There we go.
There we go.
Just before you get started, you don't wish to withdraw or defer your application this evening?
No,
Thank you. Is there anything further you'd like to add at this time?
no, thank you.
Very good. Is there any questions of the applicant by committee members? Donna?
Through you, Mr. Chair, can I just ask Ms. Pennant, I when I came there, I did realize as well how large the building was going to be. I know it can fit on the property and everything, and I know that there has been one person, one of your neighbors, who isn't happy about it. Have you spoken with the other neighbors? Do they know the size? Are people generally in favor of it, or?
We've spoke to the neighbors on both sides of us and directly behind us, and they didn't even care. Like, it made no difference.
So they were all right
Yep.
with it?
Yep.
Okay, I that was my only question, because I know it is going a little bit higher than what's in the neighborhood, and I wondered about that, but
Yep.
that was all I was wanting to ask. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Gary?
Through you, Mr. Chair, this is actually to one of our planners. Whether it's Chris or David, can I assume that there is no contravention of any rules for the garage vis-a-vis the juxtaposition of the house and height? So that's, I'm assuming you wouldn't even bring this forward then if that was a contravention of any rules?
Through you, Mr. Chair, to Member Bruno. Yeah, there's no contravention of any height rules there, if that's what you were getting at. It's just the maximum lot coverage. For a bit more clarity, there is no policies indicating that the house has to be larger than any accessory structure as well, so that's kind of why there's a justification there.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Just to that same point, I guess it was really helpful to provide the kind of little rendering of what the garage will look like. I guess the only thing could have maybe helped us a little bit was actually showing the height. I know it looks like a fairly flat roof that you have on there, so you're probably going to be right at the limit of the height requirements for the property. Other than that, I don't have any issues with regards to the height as long as it stays within the limits. So other than that, I don't have anything else. Eric?
Through you, Mr. Chair, to our planner, just is height measured from subgrade to top of roof or to mid roof?
Through you, Mr. Chair, to Member Beauregard, height is measured from grade to the highest peak. So grade to the highest point of the roof there.
Grade to the highest point. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So if there's nothing else, I know there was no other public feedback on this particular application. So with that, I will ask for a recommendation. Gary.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Respect to application A0622PC. The matter of the land is legally known as Lot 5 on Plan 60 in the city of Port Colborne, municipally known as 192 Queen Street. It's one that 17% accessory lot coverage be permitted, whereas 10% of the lot area is required. The minor variance application A06PC be granted for the following reasons. One, minor in nature, as the increase in accessory lot coverage not negatively impacts the subject parcel. Two, appropriate for the development of the site. The parcel is large enough to accommodate an increase in accessory lot coverage. Three, desirable compliance with the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw, as accessory structures are permitted in the R1 zone and the majority of the requirements of the bylaw have been satisfied. Four, desirable compliance with the general intent and purpose of the official plan, as accessory structures are permitted in the urban residential designation.
Thank you. Can I get a seconder to that? Eric? Any questions or comments? All those in favor? That'll be carried. Thank you. There is a 20-day waiting period, but other than that, you should be good to go.
Perfect. Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Thanks.
So that concludes the applications this evening. Next item on our agenda is other business. Does anybody have anything for that? Gary?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Even after all the years, some of us have been on this commission. Something struck me the other day on one of the applications, and it's happened periodically, but I think we have an opportunity when people do an application that we haven't availed ourselves, and that is to educate and communicate. I know that's a favorite topic for some of us here on this screen for the public. And one of the things, what happened was I got an email asking me about an application. And, could I, if they had any questions, please give me a call and what they were trying to do. And I thought to myself, I'm surprised that hasn't happened more often, because there's nothing in any of the applications that tell people we're quasi-judicial and that you can't contact members. So through no fault of the member of the public, they did something that perhaps we could help avoid and assist. So I called Chris about that, and he was going to do a scan. He may not have had time to yet, but I just wanted to bring it up to the members. I thought it would be a good idea right before they sign the application that there's something there. Now, it's not going to stop a opponent from doing it, because they don't have the application, so they don't know, they can't just talk to us. But I mean, if it helps somebody know the rules about contacting members, I think that's a good thing. And it probably could be just a paragraph. So I just wanted to throw the idea out there for my fellow colleagues, and maybe hear from our planner afterwards.
Absolutely. Thank you. I don't know, Chris or David, if you got any comment on that?
Sure. Yeah, through you, Dan. We briefly discussed it, and we think that if you guys want, we can add on to the preamble of the application, maybe a checklist or a signature, just to say something to that effect, that this is a quasi-judicial group and that they can't be contacted. The important thing to remember is, like Gary said, is that members of the public aren't really going to see that. So there still is potential out there for you guys to be reached out to.
Yeah, just Donna, before we get to you, to that same point, though, we should also make it clear that the members may contact them to come see the property. I know whenever I want to go, like say for instance, there's something that's either internal or you can't get to the back of the property. Normally I'll drive up and you can see it from the road most of the time. But occasionally, like in your case, Donna, recently where you got to like drive up a driveway and drive in behind the property. I always like to call ahead just to say, hey, if you see a strange car coming, it's just me. I'll be there in a half an hour or so, just so they know I'm coming if they're around and, you know, the property's not easily accessible. So just so they're aware of that we may contact them just to confirm that we're coming to see it and we're not coming to rob the place or anything like that. So with that, Donna, did you have something?
Through you, Dan. You're absolutely right, because I didn't realize until I got there how far in I had to go. So I went ahead and went in, and I thought, well, if someone came in, I'd just explain who I was. But in future, I probably would phone ahead. The other thing is, on one of the applications tonight, actually the people did contact me. I didn't realize it was coming to committee of adjustment. I thought it was for something else. I went there with Mark, they called us as ward counselors type of thing. But once I realized what they were going through, I kind of backed away a little bit. Mark talked with them and went from that point. So I knew I needed to back away, and that's why I didn't comment or say anything about it tonight as well. But yeah, it would have been easier. As soon as I got there and realized, and they said what they were doing, I said, "Oh, you know, I really shouldn't be here." I wasn't sure. I thought, you know, the questions weren't really. It was interesting because they were more historical stuff they were looking at. So it really was tough with that one. It was the one for 8 Catherine Street. And I had been there before on another reason a year or two ago, maybe even when they did the severance last time. I forget what was happening. There's been a lot of stuff going on with that property. So I would really appreciate the preamble to not contact us.
Very good. Anyone else have anything? Not seeing any. Can I look for a mover and a seconder? Oh,
Dan, sorry.
Gary. Yep.
Chris mentioned that. I don't know if he actually needs us to have a vote or just direction from hearing what we've all said.
Through you, Dan. No, I don't believe a vote is necessary to make changes to the application there. Just as a side too, I do have just 2 quick pieces of other business as well, if that's all right, Dan.
Sure.
Yeah, so the first thing is just an update on returning back in person. We don't have a definitive date yet. It's either going to be May or June. We will find out in the coming days and we'll let you guys know. Secondly, we might make some slight adjustments to the schedule of the committee circulation. Right now, we kind of work on a 4-week turnaround, and we're looking to maybe increase that to 5 weeks. It's not going to affect the meeting deadlines at all, so everything's going to pretty much remain the same. The only thing that's going to change is that the application submission will become a week ahead of what it is right now. The intent of that is to circulate the application sooner in hopes that we get comments in advance of the meeting, because we're getting a little bit tired of the late comments coming in. So that's kind of the intent around that. So just wanted to give you guys an update there.
Yeah. Good luck with getting them earlier. We've asked many times.
Well, we're going to try.
All the power to you. Very good. If there's nothing else, a mover and a seconder for the March 9th meeting minutes. Eric, Angie, seconder. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? That'll be carried. Thank you, and I will call this committee meeting adjourned. Thank you.